because it wasn't working, the guy who was hosting Reform said, "Oh, I better shut down the Zoom meeting." So he shut down the Zoom meeting. Of course, when he restarted it, he didn't start the streaming again.
Um,
So, and of course, because he'd used the streaming once, I had to go in and create a new streaming
oh,
session that we could then stream to. So it was all
yeah.
right.
Oh,
But the streaming's working, so
my
that's
phone's
good.
just told me that the live stream has started.
Yeah, yeah. I've just that's it. Well, I get the same thing on Saturday. It goes Mosaic Liberal have started live streaming. It's like okay, so fine.
That's
That's where I know
we
things are working.
Yeah, we had a Friday night service last week in Stevenage, and like, I mean, it was like because normally we get quite a few people because we have a chavura supper afterwards, and
Mm.
we only have one a month anyway. But so many people were ill, and then because there's some people that live in Hitchin, which is about 20 minutes away by car from
Mm.
Stevenage, and they don't drive, and the person that they would normally get a lift from was away on holiday, so none of that lot came, and then you
Oh.
had all the people that were ill, and I was like, normally. We lead our own Friday night services, and
Mm.
it's usually me and Terry. And Terry couldn't come because Gillian had had like some procedure during the day and they wanted us to stay in bed another hour. So there was like literally me, and there was only five of us in total.
Oh dear.
So yeah,
Oh
we
well.
still did it.
Good for you anyway. I mean, yeah. Good evening, Paul. Shabbat shalom.
Hi, Paul.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Right. Doing remarkably well. Three of us, and it's 7 minutes to go. That's a record, I
Yeah.
think. It's like unheard of, really. It's which I must turn my phone off. That's it. Last time I did the service, it was so hot. I had a fan in here, and it was blowing the candles, and I didn't notice, and it melted. The candles went down in the length of the service. It melted the candles completely, and there was wax
Wow.
everywhere. And I made the mistake of, I think I went to blow them out, and I blew the wax all over my fingers.
Oh no, and
And I
then
had
you
hot
couldn't
wax.
get it off.
Oh, so what you do, reaction, is to then stick your finger in your mouth, which is the wrong thing to do with hot wax on it. So I had
Mm.
like wax on my fingers over there in my mouth. It was a complete disaster.
Oh dear.
Luckily, no harm done, but it was like one of those, it's like I just want to sit down. So I'm not going to use the fan tonight. Hopefully, it'll be okay in here.
Yeah, it's not as hot though, and it's
No,
quite
it's not.
breezy. So yeah,
Yeah, it's quite a good breeze out there at the moment.
yeah.
And the washing's drying really quickly. Marvellous.
Yeah. Do you know what? I had half price electricity for 2 hours today, and I meant to put my washing machine on, and I totally forgot. And I was walking my granddaughter back home to her house. And I said, "No, I forgot to put the washing on." So I didn't. I think the electricity was being used for 20 minutes in the
Oh
time,
well,
and the whole total time that it was on,
yeah.
because we were
Linda, you with EDF out of curiosity?
no, British Gas, but they do every Sunday they do it between 11 and 4, half price electricity, and then they do these green flex days. So they let you know the day before that you can sign up, and it's only for like it was between
Yeah,
12:30 and 2:30 today, or 1:30 and 3:30, something like that. And if you don't sign up, you can't
yeah,
be part of
yeah.
it. But yeah, no, I mean, you don't save masses, but you still feel like you're saving something.
Well, EDF do 4 hours free on the Sunday
Yeah, that's like
if you reach the target. I've done that about a couple of times. We
Yeah,
norm-
ours is every Sunday regardless, so yeah. Yeah. That's Brigitte, I bet. Is that
Uh-huh.
Brigitte? Yeah, I
It
was
is
right.
indeed. There you go.
I was just saying, Brigitte, that when it came up as Ron, I thought it was going to be you. You're muted.
It's funny how we recognise people now by their names or their
Yeah.
machine name. We have one every Shabbat. It's a Samsung SX200, and I know exactly who that is.
Yeah.
You just get to know your people. How are you, Brigitte?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. How are you,
Yeah, we're
Stefan?
all we're all good. We're good.
Good.
So
Right,
anyway,
sorry, I can see Rod has been using the Zoom more than I have, so
dear, the problems of shared computers.
oh
It,
well, it's better than no computers. It's
true. It used to be quite funny in the early days of like COVID when like we had all the religion school on Zoom, and they were coming in as like grandpa's iPad and mum's, mum's iPhone and stuff like that. It was quite funny. So, but I think most people are used to
when
it.
it was my granddaughter's bat mitzvah, when it was my granddaughter's baby blessing, not the same granddaughter, her granddad lives in Bournemouth, and he just came in as iPad, and the person that was hosting the Zoom wouldn't let him in. So I said to him, make sure that you put your name on. So this time he put his name and granddad.
Yeah. That's it. Well, we have that on the Shabbat morning. Occasionally, we have somebody joins with just iPad, and we kind of try talking to them. We put them back in the waiting room, and if they'll turn their camera on, if we can see them, we go, yeah. Or if they give us a name, it's fine. But it's always a bit of a worry when it's iPad, because you never quite know who's there.
When David joins on his iPad on a Saturday, he always comes in as iPad, but then he has his picture up, so you can see. And I change it to David. Yeah. So
I always take the view, if they've got a picture up, or we can see them, or they've got a reasonable name, then we'll take the risk. It's pretty low risk these days anyway, because we don't let many people do stuff like sharing screens or. And if it's a bar mitzvah or something like that, I'll often not even allow people to unmute themselves, just to avoid, because we do get people inadvertently, they fiddle with the side of the iPad and they end up unmuting themselves. And in the synagogue, you suddenly get this voice going, "Oh, I'll have a cup of tea then." It's like okay.
We've all done it, Stefan. We've all done it.
I know. Right. Shabbat shalom, Danielle.
Shabbat shalom. I'll deliberately unmute myself so that I can say hi.
Shalom.
Danielle, I'm not able to host next week again.
I think. No, we've just been asked to babysit for baby Jasper next Friday. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's my granddaughter's birthday, so we're going.
Unless I can be hosting while we're babysitting, which might be a possibility, I can discuss with you and Kevin.
Do you know how Lindsay is at all?
Good.
No?
No.
I sent her a text to Adrian just to wish her well from Ruth and I. I just wondered if anybody had an update.
No.
The only thing I heard was, I think when we had what was the thing we had the other day? The bill that went through, the not end of life, what's it called? Assisted dying
I know
bill.
the one you mean.
I think Lindsay wanted to join that, so she sent a message in saying she couldn't make it, and could we sort of get access to it remotely, which we did in the end. So she was able to watch it.
I didn't know. Was it online then?
It wasn't meant to be online, but as a last minute thing, because there was one or two people who, due to sort of physical restrictions, couldn't make it.
Yeah.
It really was 11th hour. We suddenly said, look, here's the code, and I think Anthony ended up using his laptop to stream it and everything. So it was not perfect quality like it normally would be, but the people who needed it could actually see it. But it wasn't meant to be. It was just meant to be in person only. But
I wish I knew, because I get vertigo, so sometimes I find it hard to.
Yeah. As a general rule, we don't do it. As a general rule, because I think the idea was, if we keep starting on Zoom, people don't come to the synagogue. So it was like all of these events are effectively in person only, but under exceptional circumstances we may do something. But that may be something we need to take up, or people need to take up with the various sort of rabbis and chairs, and as to whether or not we do it. But the great danger is that if we have an event, people will sort of go, well, I'll just watch it on Zoom then. And of course, especially if it's a paid for event as well, it's it gets a bit tricky. But anyway,
could I just check, have we already started live streaming and recording or not?
We have indeed.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, going to say we should be careful what we say. It's always a thank you for reminding me that. Yes. Anyway, we'll see if anybody watches the live stream, but yes, thank you. Right, it being 6:30, I think we ought to start. So let me share my screen first of all. I'm going to put you on mute, Paul. Oh, sorry. That's it, we're all on mute. Right, let me share my screen a second. That's the one. Hopefully you can all see that. So Shabbat Shalom everybody, and welcome to yet another Friday night. Capacity crowd tonight. It's marvellous to have so many of you with us this early in the service. So thank you for joining us. And I'd like to start with a brief meditation, which says, Our Creator, you have made us the masters of your world, to tend it, to serve it, and to enjoy it. For 6 days we measure and we build, we count and carry the real and the imagined burdens of our task, the success we earn and the price we pay. On this, the Shabbat day, give us rest. For 6 days, if we are weary or bruised by the world, if we think ourselves giants or cause others pain, there is never a moment to pause and know what we should really be. On this, the Shabbat day, give us time. For 6 days we are torn between our private greed and the urgent needs of others, between the foolish noises in our ears and the silent prayer of our soul. On this, the Shabbat day, give us understanding and peace. Help us, God, to carry these lessons of rest and time, of understanding and peace, into the 6 days that lie ahead, to bless us in the working days of our lives. And with that, we start with Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu Ohalayich Leah Mishkanotayich Rachel. And as we start our service, we will light the Shabbat candles. If anybody has some candles there and wishes to join me in lighting them, please feel free to do so. I can find some matches. That's it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And as we start our service, please feel free to join me on mute, I have to say, for Yom Zeh Yisrael. Yom Zeh Yisrael, hora v'simcha, hora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, hora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Sevita pikudim b'ma'amad Sinai, Shabbatu moadim lishmo b'chol shanai, le'aroch lefanai, ma'aset va'arucha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Chemdat halvavot le'uma shavura, limfashot nachavot neshama yitera, lenefesh metzera, yasir anacha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Kidashta beirachta oto mikol yamim, b'sheshet kalita melechet olamim. Bo matzu agumim, hashketu vitacha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. And we continue with Psalm 96. Shiru ladonai shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz, shiru ladonai baruchu shemo, basru mayom leyom yeshuato, safru vagoyim kevodo, b'chol ha'amim niflaotav. Ki gadol Adonai umehulal me'od, norahu al kol Elohim, ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim, va'adonai shamayim asa, chod v'hada lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho. Havu ladonai mishpachot amim, havu ladonai kavod va'oz, havu ladonai kavod shemo, se'u micha uva'u lachatzrotav, hishtachavu ladonai b'chadrat kodesh, hilu mipanav kol haaretz, imru vagoyim Adonai malach, aftir kon tevel baal timot, yadin amim b'meisharim, yismechu hashamayim v'tegel haaretz, yiram hayam umelo, ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo. Oz yerananu kol atzeya lifnei Adonai, kiva kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'amim be'emunato. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. And we then continue with Lachadodi. Lachadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Shamo v'zacho b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'lit hila, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat v'chuvanelcha, ki hi makor habracha, merosh mikedem nasucha, sof ma'aseh b'machashava tehila, lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, hitorari, Kiva orech kumi ori. Uri, Uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha dodi, likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'sohola, Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. And once again we continue now with Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir, the Yom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon lahagid baboker chasdecha ve'emunatcha b'halelot alei asov alei navel alei higayom bechino ki simachta ni Adonai b'fa'alecha b'masei yadecha haranein. Ma godlu ma'asecha Adonai ma'od amku machshavotecha. Ish ba'al lo yeda, uchsir lo yovin et zot. Bifroch risha'im kamo esev, v'yatzitzu kol po'olei aven, lihishamdam adei ad. V'atam arom la'olam Adonai, ki hinei oivecha Adonai, ki hinei oivecha yovedu yitpardu kol po'olei aven. V'tarem kirem karni beloti b'shemen ra'anan, v'tabeit eini b'shurai, Bekamim alai, Mureim tishmana, oznai. Sadikata yifrach, Ka'eres balvonon yisker, Shetulim, Beveit Adonai, B'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu, O Januvun b'seva, Deshenim v'ra'anim yiyu, L'hagid, Ki yashar Adonai suri v'lo avlatabo. That brings us now to the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach La'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, B'chokhma Poteach Sha'arim, Uvitvuna Meshane Itim, Umachalif et Hazmanim, Umsadeh et HaKochavim, B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirtsono. B'rei Yom V'Layla, Golel O Mipnei Choshech V'Choshech Mipnei Or, Hama'avir Yom Umevi Layla, Umavdil ben Yom uvein Laila, Adonai Sivaot Shemo, Baruch Ata Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. With everlasting love have you loved your people, the family of Israel. Teaching and practice duty and justice. These you have taught us. Therefore, our God and guide, we think upon all this before we sleep and when we wake, and rejoice and delight in your teaching and its practice for ever and ever, for they are our life and the measure of our days. We keep them in mind both day and night. Never take your love away from us. Blessed are you, God, who loves your people Israel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Va'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shiftacha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha uv'kshatam la'od al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha u'chetavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha. And we will continue in silence, reading the second and third paragraph of the Shema. And we'll come together in the middle of the third paragraph with L'Ma'an Tizkaru. L'Ma'an Tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet. Emet v'emuna kol zot v'kayam aleinu ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ein zulato va'anachnu Yisrael Amo. Ha'oseh gedolot ad ein cheker, v'niflaot ad ein mispar. V'ra'u v'nav gevurato, shibchu v'chodu lishmo, u'malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem. Moshe u'Miriam u'v'nei Yisrael, lecha anu shira b'simcha rabba, v'yamru chulam, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha Adonai Eloheinu ra'u v'necha al hayam, yachad kulam hodu v'imlichu v'amaru, Adonai yimloch la'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad hazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai, Go'al Yisrael. Source of our life and our sovereign, cause us to lie down in peace and rise again to enjoy life. Spread over us the covering of your peace, guide us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Be a shield about us, turning away every enemy, disease, violence, hunger and sorrow. Remove the temptation that awaits us and the guilt that lies behind us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are a God who guards and protects us, a ruler of mercy and compassion. Guard us when we go out and when we come in, to enjoy life and peace both now and forever, and spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, God, spreading the shelter of peace over us, over your people Israel, and over all the world. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotom berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotom berit olam. Beini uvein B'nei Yisrael, oti la'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotom berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotom berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotom berit olam. And that brings us to the Kaddish, the Chatzi Kaddish, the half Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Amen. B'alma divrach hirutei, v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayeichon uv'yomeichon, uv'chayei dichol beit Yisrael. Ba'kahala uv'izman kariv, v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach la'olam u'la'olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithada v'yitale v'yithalal. Shemedi Kudasha Barichu Leila min kol bechata v'shirata Tush bechata v'nechemata Diamiran bi'alma v'imeru. Amen. Lord, open our lips, and our mouths shall declare your praise. Adonai sifotai tiftach ufia gitehilatecha. Adonai sifotai tiftach ufia gitehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'Elohei imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Rivka, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozeh U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Avraham, Poked Sarah. Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atorav L'Hoshia, Morit Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umakayim Emunato Lishenei Afa, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umachayei, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata L'Hachayot Metim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechayei Hametim. Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'Kol Yom Yahalalucha Selah, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You made the seventh day holy to your name, as the end of creation of heaven and earth. You blessed it above all other days, and made it holier above all other times. And so it is written in your Torah. Vayechulu hashamayim va'aretz v'chol tziva'am, vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa, vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto, kivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest be pleasing to you. Make us holy by doing your commands, and let us share in the work of your Torah. Make us content with your goodness, and let our souls know the joy of your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your love and goodwill, let us inherit your holy Shabbat, and may all Israel who seek holiness find in it their rest. Blessed are you, God, who makes the Shabbat holy. Say Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, v'lit filatam she'eh, uvrachamecha harabim tachpot banu, v'tashrei shechinatecha al Tzion. V'techazena einenu b'shuvacha Tzion b'rachamim, Baruch ata Adonai, hamachazir shechinato l'Tzion. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu la'olam va'ed. Tzurenu tzur chayenu u'magen yishenu ata hu. L'dor v'ador nodeh lecha u'nesaper tilatecha, al chayenu chamsurim bi'adecha, v'al nishmotenu hapkudot lach, v'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu, v'al niflotecha v'tovotecha, shebachol et erev v'avoker v'tzoharayim. Hatov kilo chalu rachamecha, chamrachem kilo tamu chasadecha, ki me'alam ki vinu lach. V'al kulam yitbarach v'yitromem v'yitnaseh, tamid shimcha malkeinu la'olam va'ed. V'chol hachayim yoducha selah, v'yachalalu v'yavorachu et shimcha hagadol v'emet. Ha'al yeshuatenu v'ezratenu selah, Baruch ata Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha ne'er lehodot. Set true peace upon your people Israel forever, for you are the source of all peace, and in your eyes it is good to bless your people Israel at every time and in every hour with your peace. Blessed are you, God, blessing your people Israel with peace. And we'll just take a few moments for quiet reflection. Yiuluratzon imre fi, v'hegion libi lefanecha, Adonai suri v'goali. May the Maker of peace in the highest bring this peace upon us, and upon all Israel, and upon all the world. Hosei shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol ha'olam. And that brings us kind of neatly to our, I say study session. It's just a few words that I have tonight, but it's probably worth reciting the blessing first, which is Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And I'm going to stop sharing for a moment so I can actually see my own screen. Oops, find it. There we are. And this Shabbat is Shabbat Chukat, and the portion this week, or part of the portion, deals with the what's called the red heifer. This thing that if a person comes into contact with a corpse by touching it, or even being under the same roof as it, they become ritually impure, and they cannot enter the temple again until they've actually made sacrificial offerings and purify themselves. And the way of doing that is the priest would slaughter a red heifer, and through various sort of processes would then mix the ashes with spring water and sprinkle it onto the impure person, and they become pure again. But the crux of all this is the red heifer. What is a red heifer? How do you find a red cow? And it's quite the red cows aren't rare, but they are not that common. And the Torah gives us a list of criteria as to what makes an acceptable red heifer. First of all, the cow must be at a minimum within its third year of life. So no calves or anything like that. It's got to be at least 2 years plus a bit. It needs to be completely red. Now this is the interesting bit. It says if 2 hairs of a different colour are next to each other, that rules it out. If there are 3 hairs that are far apart that are a different colour, that also rules it out. So it really does have to be a pretty red cow. There can be no physical blemishes. So any blemish on the animal that would disqualify it from a normal sacrifice would also disqualify it from being a red heifer. It cannot be used for work. It cannot have work done with it. And work, apparently in this case, even includes even if a person leant on it, because then it's been used to support a person, or if they put a garment or a cloth upon it, that would disqualify it as well. It would only be allowable if that garment or cloth was there to safeguard the animal, maybe in extreme heat, to protect it from the heat, for example. Now obviously if you put a yoke on the cow, that would have a very similar effect as well, that even if it doesn't do any work, the very act of putting a yoke on the cow would also disqualify it from being a red heifer. And the other thing is that if it's pregnant, or even if a male has mated with it but it's not necessarily pregnant yet, it's still disqualified. So I think you can imagine that with that sort of list of criteria, it's probably not that common to find a red heifer. So should you find yourself in the countryside this weekend, you can go red heifer spotting if you wish. If you do find one, let us know, although we're not going to sacrifice them now anyway, but it'll be interesting if anybody ever finds a red heifer. So there you go. It's sort of a few words there on, I'm sure it'll be spoken about tomorrow, or may well be spoken about during the services tomorrow. But there you go, the red heifer and where to find one, or where not to find one, so to speak. So with that, I don't know if anybody wanted to comment on that. I'll leave you free to unmute yourself if you want to comment, or you can stay silent if you prefer. I don't mind.
Well, I should imagine this ceremony's never ever been performed.
I don't know. I mean, as I said, well, certainly not in our time, because but it's apparently it's not uncommon. Sorry, they are rare, but not impossible to find. And I suppose whether or not they bred, if you breed red cows, whether or not eventually you'll end up with a breed pure enough to support the process, I don't know. I think these days they wouldn't. I don't think it would happen. But as I said, they're not impossible to find, but they are quite rare because of the criteria you've got to meet, I should think. So there you go. So, but as I said, I'm not a farmer. I wouldn't really know. Yeah, I'm into computers, not cows, I'm afraid. So what would I know? So there you go. Anyway, with that, we will continue our service with Elenu. Let me share my screen again. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקווה לך, אדוני אלוהינו, לראות מהרה בתפארת עוזך, להעביר גלולים מן הארץ, והאלילים קרות יכרתון, לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, וכל בני בשר יקראו בשמך, להפנות אליך כל רישי ארץ, יכירו וידעו כל יושבי תבל, כי שותפים כולנו בתיקון עולמך, כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי עד תמלוך בכבוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Echad. The souls of the righteous are in the hands of God, and no harm shall come to them. God, source of compassion, you give life in which joys and sorrows are mingled, and send death with its promise of eternal peace. We mourn this week the death of Phyllis Mitchie, mother of Dorinda and Simone, and grandmother of Monique and Philip. May you comfort her family and all who mourn for her. May God, who is full of compassion, whose presence is over us, cover her in the shelter of your wings forever, and bind her soul into the gathering of life. We remember at this time all those who once shared with us the joys and challenges of life, but who are with us no longer. May their souls shine like the brightness of the heavens. We thank you for all you gave them during their lives. We think especially of those who died at this time in years past. For Mosaic Liberal, we remember especially Sidney Ash, the father of Janet Judelson, Jack Bendon, the uncle of Janet Solomon, Fanny Lustig, the grandmother of Rosalind Bott, Lauren Miriam Morby, daughter of Lynn and Gary Morby, Reginald Solomon, father of Alan Solomon, and Susan Spencer, wife of Howard Spencer. And in Mosaic Reform, we remember Hans Winton, the father of Maureen Daniels, Jack Ingram, the father of Dan, Lily Greenstone, the mother of Howard Sanford, Rachel Joyce, the mother of Ian, Ruth Paula Reich, the mother of Michael, Sidney Goldman, the father of Judith Barra, Tanya Dawn Hodges, the sister of Rochelle Latham, William Warren, the husband of Diana, and Tammy Alaloof, mother of Shelley Rose and Ron Alaloof. Zichronam Livracha, may the memory of their love and guidance be a source of enduring blessing. In loving memory, we sanctify your name, and we say together, Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma Divrach Hirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon Uv'Yomechon Uv'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Avizman Kariv V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach La'olam Ololmei Olmaya, Yit Barach V'Yishtabach V'Yit Pa'ar V'Yit Romam V'Yit Nasei, V'Yit Hadar V'Yit Halev V'Yit Halal, Shemei Di Kudusha Brechu, La'ela Min Kol Bechata V'Shirata, Tush Bechata V'Nechemata, Di Amiram Ba'alma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Al Kol Ha'olam V'Yimru Amen. And to anybody who is commemorating the loss of a loved one, we wish you long life, free from further sorrow. And with that, we come on to announcements. Don't think there's a huge amount. I think most of the things you'll be able to find on the website. Just a mention that tomorrow morning, as usual, Reform Shabbat service is at 10:30. Liberal is at 10:45, and it's being taken by Cantor Rachel, as I think Western. So that's there. There's also a children's service at the synagogue, also beginning at 10:45 tomorrow. Quite a lot happening during the week. I don't think we've got anybody from Reform here, but there's the Reform AGM on Tuesday. We've got Meet the Author on Wednesday, and all the usual things. Next Friday night is Shabbat Beitenu, which will be in the synagogue. If you want to come along to that, please let the office know so we know how many people we are catering for. And with that, we will move on to, I think last time I did Yigdal, so I think this time, to be fair to other people, I better do a Don Olam. Otherwise we'll have a riot on our hands. So here we go. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Li'et Nasa Kechef Sakol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'acharei Kichlot Hakol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hove V'hu Yeh B'tifara V'hu Echad V'yein Sheni L'hamshir Lo L'hachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra V'hu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Chevli B'yom Sarah V'hu Nisi Umanusi Manat Kosi B'yom Ekra B'yado Avkid Ruchi B'eitishan V'a'ira V'yim Ruchi Gaviati Adonai li V'lo ira. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I think now we'll move on to Kiddush. So if you have a becher and some wine, whatever takes your fancy, really. A becher, some wine. Just trying to move that up. Lemonade, orange juice, anything cold would be quite nice in this weather, I should think. But there you go. I can see Daniel's ready for the next part. I might get you to do the hamaltzi in a minute if you want, Daniel, if you'd like. But right, if we all have our glasses of wine or whatever we're drinking. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avav rotzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך, באהבה ורצון הנהלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim. Danielle, over to you.
I apologise, I'm a bit hoarse because I've had a cold all week, but Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. And it's that wine. Lovely to see you all, and I hope that it was. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully the weather will hold, and some of you we might see tomorrow, some of you we might see next week, or whenever. But it's lovely to see you all. Hope
Thank you
well.
very much,
For a lovely
Stefan, for a wonderful service. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Lovely to
thanks,
see you,
Stefan.
Rania. I was worried when you weren't here for a while, Rania. I always worried. You made it in the end. You would never let us down. So,
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. As usual, Shabbat shalom, everybody. See you soon. Have a safe journey home, everybody. And we'll see you all again soon. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Ronnie.